I'm standing alone in a crowded room and we're not speaking. And I'm dying to know, is it killing you like it's killing me? Yeah. I don't know what to say since a twist of fate when it all broke down. And the story of us looks a lot like a tragedy now. Breathless at dawn again. Equally meaningless and misleading is the state that the secular date of the desolation of Jerusalem, 587 or 586 BCE, disagrees with the chronology of the Bible, since the absolute date for this event is not given in the Bible either. So we've established that the notion that the Bible tells you when to start Russell's 2,520 year calculation of crazy asses to figure out when Jesus is going to smoke crack, come back. The notion that the Bible either agrees or disagrees with any date for that, for the fall of Jerusalem to Babylon, is complete bullshit. It doesn't give any dates. It's a real world fact that the Watchtower has wrong. Definitely wrong. And it's not in competition with anything in the Bible. It's just they think it's one date. It's not that date. It's a different date. But that underpins their entire organization. Their entire theory about why they're God's organization falls apart. That's why they have to keep the lie. What of the 70 years of Jeremiah 25, 11, 12, and 29, 10, on which witnesses rely so heavily on their chronology? Witnesses quite naturally hold that to the Watchtower's claim that these 70 years refer to the period of Jerusalem's desolation, reckoned from the 18th year of Nebuchadnezzar to the return of Jewish exiles in the first year of Cyrus. That this, his first or full regnal year, following his accession year, which began in 539 BCE. As a result of this view, the timing between the dates historians have established for these two events, 587-86 or 538-37 BCE, appears too short by some 20 years. Missed by 20 years. The Watchtower Society therefore chooses to reject one of the two dates. They could reject the date for Nebuchadnezzar's 18th year, 587-586 BCE, or reject the date for Cyrus's first regnal year, 538-537 BCE. They reject the first date, 587-586 BCE. On what basis to reject that date and not the other? There is no biblical reason for this choice. We're not talking about interpreting the Bible here. We're talking about when something happened. They claim something happened. All the claims about that having biblical significance is on there. You can give it to them. There's no biblical reason to pick the date they picked, and they picked the wrong one. Simple as that. There's no biblical reason for this choice. As pointed out earlier, the Bible itself neither agrees nor disagrees with either of these two dates stated in terms of Christian era reckoning. The Bible, therefore, simply does not provide the means for deciding which of the two dates is the better one. In terms of being firmly established, on what grounds, then, should the choice be made, provided the Society's interpretation of the 70 years is correct? The most logical, sound, scholarly method would be to accept the date is most clearly established by the extra-biblical historical sources. This is because the sources do supply the data needed to link up our Christian era reckoning. And, as will be demonstrated in the next two chapters, these sources showed very definitely that of the two dates just considered, the chronology of Nebuchadnezzar's reign is much better established by astronomical and other documents than is the chronology of Cyrus's reign. If a choice were really necessary, the Bible-believing Christians were faced with choosing, the natural choice would be to retain the 587-586 BCE date and reject the 538-537 BCE date. So I think what this means is that they must have their actual reckoning, the Watchtower's actual path has to do with picking some other thing that is 70 years from something else. That's how they got to 607, is that some other 70 years first year of Cyrus, that is his first full regnal year, the following his accession year, which began in 539 BCE. So they're counting from Cyrus. So they have something, they interpret something as being 70 years from Cyrus, and they're just saying that is the same, that matches up with the 18th year of whatever. So they're using, it sounds like part of the bullshit is they're relying on a date for Cyrus and saying that that matches Nebuchadnezzar's 18th year. If that makes any sense. Yet the Watchtower Society prefers the opposite choice, since the reason for this is not because the Bible itself favors one of these dates or the other. It's certainly not because the historical evidence does so. What is the real reason for the choice? Loyalty to the Bible or to prophetic speculation? If, according to their claims, the 70-year period of Jeremiah's prophecy really should be reckoned from the 18th year of Nebuchadnezzar to the first year of Cyrus, Watchtower Society should logically have started with 586 BCE as historically the more reliable of the two dates. Counting 70 years forward from the date would point at 517 BCE, and then these are all like, it's not really clear which year it would actually fall in. That's why there's like two dates, 586 or 587. Can't really say for certain which year it would fall in, or which calendar year it would fall in, but pretty close. Somewhere between there is kind of what it adds up to. The first year of Cyrus instead of 538, 537. This would be as biblical and actually more scholarly than to retain the 538, 537 BC and reject the 587, 586 date. So basically they think that their view of when Cyrus had his first accession year conflicts with if you thought that Jerusalem fell to Babylon in 586, 587. I don't know. It's confusing. The answer is obvious. The 587, 586 BCE date is the direct conflict with the Watchtower's chronology for the times of the Gentiles. In that chronology, their 607 BCE date for the desolation of Jerusalem was the indispensable starting point. Without the date of 607 BCE, the society could not arrive in 1914 CE as the ending point. So they've already picked the ending point. They've already based shit on the ending point. So they can't be wrong about that. Or they've already kind of like accepted that they're wrong about it, but then they're still asserting that anybody who thinks otherwise is a big asshole. See, it was a very cornerstone of the prophetic claims and message of the Watchtower organization. Nothing is allowed to upset it, neither the Bible nor historical facts. At its heart, therefore, is neither a question of loyalty to the Bible nor loyalty to historical facts. The choice of date has quite another motive. Loyalty to the chronological speculation has become a vital condition for divine claims of the Watchtower organization. We don't believe in dates. That has nothing to do with my religion. In the next two chapters, it will be demonstrated that the whole Neo-Babylonian chronology is firmly established by the last at least 17 different lines of evidence. So he's going to show you in this book 17 different ways to know that they're wrong and 587, 586 is right. 17 different ways to prove it. It's going to be a long book. We got a ways to go still. 17 against 0. No reason to think their date. 17 different ways to prove the correct date. And 17 different ways to prove it agree with the correct date. Thus, the 587, 586 date for the 18th year of Nebuchadnezzar, that's what we're looking for, the 18th year of Nebuchadnezzar, and the desolation of Jerusalem, and the 538, 537 date for the first year of Cyrus are both correct. That none of these dates are in conflict with the 70 years of Jeremiah. Will be demonstrated in a subsequent chapter. Alright, so basically, both correct. The collapse of the original starting point. To repeat, without secular sources, there's no absolute chronology for dating events in scriptures. The Watchtower has itself had to yield to this inevitable, though embarrassing fact. The very first thing the society has been forced to do, therefore, is in order to have any Bible chronology at all, is to turn to secular sources! And select the date which chronology can be based. The date they have chosen is the date historians have established for the fall of Babylon, 539 BCE. This secular date, therefore, is the very foundation of what the society presents as its Bible chronology. Why did the society choose this date as the basis for the chronology? And how did the historians arrive at this date? Alright, so they counted from Cyrus, 70 years from Cyrus, I guess. Approximately. It's confusing. But basically they had, I don't know. When Charles Taylor Russell first adopted Nelson H. Barber's Bible chronology, 536 BCE, not 539 BCE, was a secular basis on which that chronology had been established. This date was believed to be not part of Babylon's fall, but the first year of Cyrus. By adding 70 years, there we go. By adding the 70 years to 536, they got 606 BCE. So in the Bible, there's something about 70 years. And what they did was they took their secular date that they have for the first year of Cyrus, and then they added 70 years to it to get back to 606 BCE. So, and that's Barber's date is 606 BCE, which was calculated from adding 70 years to the first year of Cyrus. But the first year of Cyrus, that date, is from a secular source. Got 606 BCE as the date for the desolation of Jerusalem by subtracting 606 from 2,520, the supposed number of years in the Gentile times. They arrived at 1914. Originally, Barber claimed that and when they did that, they missed a year. So they're definitely wrong by a year because there's no year zero, right? We already went over that. Originally, Barber claimed that the 536 BCE date was derived from ancient king list known as Ptolemy's canon. In time, however, it was discovered that this was not the case. The King's List not only points to 538 BCE, the first full year of Cyrus, but also to 587 BCE, the date for the 18th year of Nebuchadnezzar, the year of Jerusalem's desolation. Alright, so there's a King's List, whatever. People have made lists of which king ruled for how long and who followed him, yada yada yada. There's a lot of that in here. So even the King's List, where they claim to have gotten the date for the first year of Cyrus, that same King's List lists the 18th year of King Nebuchadnezzar as 587 BCE. The year of Jerusalem. When the facts dawned upon Russell, he rejected the King's List and started to attack its supposed originator, Claudius Ptolemy. He still believed, however, that 536 BCE was a generally accepted date for the first year of Cyrus. So we have the fucking date, we have the date for what we're looking for, but we still want to use the first year of Cyrus and add 70 years to it just because we feel like it. It's just bizarre. All students of chronology may be said to agree that the first year of Cyrus is the year 536 before the beginning of our Anno Domini era. As a quote from Zion's Watchtower. This book's awesome. If you're a fact wonk, if you like to fact check, this book has like footnotes up the wazoo. You could make a career out of checking the footnotes in this book. As time went by, the Bible students discovered that this statement was not true either. In private letter to Russell dated June 7th, 1914, one of his closest associates, Paul S. L. Johnson, pointed out to him that nearly all historians held 538 BCE for the first year of Cyrus. I have consulted a dozen encyclopedias, he wrote, and all except 3 give 538 BCE as the date. Russell, however, ignored this information, and so did Joseph Rutherford, his successor as president of the Watchtower Society. Not until 1944, in the book The Kingdom is at Hand, did the Watchtower Society finally abandon the 536 BCE date. By steps, Cyrus' first year was moved backwards, first to 537 BCE, and then 5 years later to 538 BCE, the date pointed to by Ptolemy's canon. To retain 1914... Okay, so now we switch that. This is kind of the damning thing. In their own history, they discovered an error here, and they still managed to keep 1914. To retain 1914 as the termination date of the Gentile times, other adjustments had to be made. So he's discovered we were wrong. We know God told us how to calculate Jesus' return. Oh, well, we made a little error in how we did that, but now we need to find another error to keep 1914. Got to keep it true. We're going to make other adjustments now. To begin with, even though the first year of Cyrus started in the spring of 538 BCE, the Watchtower argued that his edict permitting the Jews to return home from the exile, Ezra 1:1-4, was issued towards the end of the first original year. So now we're fudging the fuck out of this just to keep 1914. We're squishing shit around. Well, but he was... Yeah, that was his first, year, but it was towards the end of his first original year. That is early in 537 BCE. In that case, the Jews departing from Babylon could not have reached Jerusalem until the autumn of that year. By adding 70 years to 537, the desolation of Jerusalem was then fixed to 607 BCE instead of 606. So we fudged a year, and then we fudged a year to keep 1914 the correct date. We know what ending point we want, so we'll just fudge things around. So we were talking about Barber's date was 606 he started counting from. Now we're counting from 607. And then now they use the no zero year principle as part of their fudging. Anywho, we're halfway down, page 79.